Bev again. You know, the funny thing is, this is the second time doing this video. The first time I did it, I forgot to wear my speaker wire. Anyway, here we go. This video is about eating fiber and how it's related to weight loss. So fiber is a roughage, a bulk, found in veggies, fruit, whole grains, legumes. In other words, it's only found in carbohydrates. You get no fiber from protein and no fiber from fats. So if you're on some sort of deprivation diet, carb deprivation diet, then you're going to get constipated because you're not going to have any fiber. Keto, for me, for example, when I looked up what I was supposed to be eating on keto, it said 20 grams of carbs, which is like 80 calories. It would be maybe one apple, one piece of bread, and no other carbs for the rest of the day, as an example. I would be constipated, and so would you. Now, many people on keto are losing weight, and they swear by it, but they don't really understand that they're not in ketosis because they are eating a lot of vegetables, and vegetables have fiber, and vegetables are carbs, as are fruits. So they're losing weight because they quit eating all the shitty stuff, all the processed foods, the pasta, the white potatoes, the jasmine rice, all that stuff. So I say, go to it. I don't want to tell them they're not in ketosis. Okay, so back to what we're talking about. By the way, you can watch my video on keto dieting. You can't break down fiber, but your intestinal living probiotic bacteria can, and it needs it for energy, okay? You don't need fiber for energy, but your bacteria needs fiber for energy. It's living, it's a different entity than you. So let's look at the different types of fiber, all right? First of all, fiber is a structural form of carbohydrate, and it comes in two forms. It can be soluble or insoluble. And obviously soluble deals with water, right? It absorbs water and it dissolves in water. It will lower your cholesterol and it will lower your sugar levels, okay, in your bloodstream. This is good. Now, insoluble fiber is, as I say, insoluble in water, okay? It increases the bulk of your stool or your poop. It prevents constipation, very important, and it's a softener. It regularizes the consistency and the frequency of your stools, and it's going to lower the risk of hemorrhoids. I remember after the birth of my first child, I had a bad set of hemorrhoids, and actually I had to have surgery, so that was no fun. Okay, but let's talk about all of this in relation to fat loss, right? So, as I said, soluble fiber, it makes a jelly-like slimy mass, and so it slows your digestion. And anytime you slow your digestion, you're going to get less sugar, hitting your bloodstream too fast for your body to deal with. And when that happens, it makes fat, right? So it's going to make you feel full faster. It's going to actually take you a longer time to eat something with a lot of fiber. And the leptin hormone, that's your I'm full hormone, actually arrives on time when you're eating a fibrous pile of food. Not too late, right? You can't jam too much into your mouth, because when you're eating, if you eat something with a lot of fiber, let's take a couple of stalks of celery, right? You get pretty full. There's not a lot of calories in celery, but it's very high fiber. It's just an example. You get less of a metabolic response, and metabolic responses involve all your metabolic hormones, your insulin, your cortisol, all those kinds of things. obviously involving your metabolism, and you get less fat-making insulin, for example. And fiber uses a lot more energy for your body to digest, and energy, of course, is calorie burning, so that's good. So before we talk about examples, let's assume you go into the store and you're buying something. And I have to say, you know, when I go into the store, I have to kind of become a detective, you know. I have to wear my bifocals because I've got to read ingredients lists, right? Because, you know, when you're talking about this, you're often looking at processed foods. An example is, you might say, whoa, do you buy processed foods? Well, yeah, sometimes I do. Let's say that I'm buying wheat-based crackers because I'm going to be making a charcuterie board. I've got guests coming over, but I want good crackers. They're processed foods. I don't want a lot of ridiculous carbohydrates, right? Processed carbohydrates. So I want to pick crackers, and I'm going to look at 3 examples of the same volume, and I don't want a lot of carbs in them, right? I'm going to be putting interesting things on those crackers. I don't want the crackers to be taking over in terms of calories from carbs. So cracker A boasts that it has 20 grams of carbohydrates for whatever volume we're looking at. And B has 16. And let's say C has 14. I'm just using some simple examples here. Now, if I look at the total carbs, and I don't look any further on the ingredients list, I might assume, if I'm trying to keep my carbs down, that 14 grams, choice number C, is the best. But I never looked at the fiber. And the fiber, the net impact of fiber on carbohydrates is going to change the bioavailability of that carbohydrate. And it's very interesting. Let's say that choice number A has 15 grams, you know, and you're going to see this on the label. There's no guessing. It's going to tell you carbohydrates and it's going to tell you fiber. So each of these is going to give you a fiber count. Okay, so you're looking at the label and you're seeing carbs and fiber. All right, well, how many real carbs, how many net carbs is your body going to be dealing with? Well, if you subtract these, you're going to get your answer. Okay, so in A, 20 carbs and 20 grams of carbs, 15 grams of fiber is only 5 grams of net carbs. So if you don't look at fiber, you think this is the best choice. But if you factor in the fiber, this is the best choice. So anytime you're looking at carbs, always subtract the fiber, and then you will see the actual carbs that your body is going to be digesting. Okay? The interesting thing is, if you're not eating enough carbs, let's say you're on that keto diet, for example, then you really should take psyllium or inulin, and those are prebiotic fibers. You can get them at drugstores, and they are, I would say, to avoid any that have added sugar, a lot of fillers, or even artificial coloring. And another point I have to make, which is really shocking, you may not actually know how much fiber you're eating. And that's because the processed food industry uses fiber when it wants to advertise that it has something that is low fat or no fat, or low or no sugar. And you might wonder, well, how the hell, why do they do that? It's used in fat-free and low-fat foods because inulin, for example, causes a kind of a creamy mouthfeel. And that's the same thing that you get from fat when you eat it. And similarly, it's a bit sweet tasting, so they could put it in instead of sugar. And they're like, you know, we don't have a lot of fat or we don't have a lot of sugar. But meanwhile, you're eating a lot of fiber. I'm not saying fiber is bad. I'm just saying that you may be eating more fiber than you think. And as a result, you're going to be getting bloating issues or maybe abdominal pain. So you really have to kind of consider how much fiber you're eating when you're eating foods. Let me just take this down in case you're still looking at these lists. I would say, for me, I eat about maybe 25 grams of fiber a day. A man can eat 35 to 38 grams, but you know, just watch how much you're eating so that you don't get that bloated feeling. Examples, and you can Google examples of soluble fiber, seeds, nuts, lentils, broccoli, green beans, cabbage, onions, tomatoes, carrots, pears, bananas, garlic. And if you're going to be eating cereal, my go-to cereal is Fibre One. That's actually the name of it, Fibre One Original. Okay, very, very high fiber. And if you're looking for insoluble, go for 100% whole grains, ground flax seeds. If they're not ground or powdered, they're just going straight to the toilet. Okay, you're not going to be able to deal with them. Fruit skins, and of course you should eat vegetable skins anyway. Anyway, I hope this helps you, and we'll see you in the next video. Alrighty, thanks. Bye for now.